So, you have some really cool Gundam MSIA action figures. But what do you do with them? Do you put them on display? Do you keep them in a box and hide them from your girlfriend and only take them out to look at them when she's not around? Do you have little Gundam battles like you used to when you were a kid? Well, here today I'm going to be proposing to you one more cool thing you can do with these action figures. Today I will be showing you the Gundam MSIA action figure game. It's a game which I designed myself with the help of 507 Mitchell. Together we have made something really awesome, and in fact we had a tournament last year or this summer. I think it was this last summer, I meant to say. That's when we had the tournament over the internet. But anyways, it's a really cool game, really fun, and I'm here today to show you how to play this game using the newest rules set. So, things you're going to need to play. Obviously, you're going to need some Gundam action figures. You don't necessarily need this many. You don't necessarily need this little. You can have 2 action figures fighting against each other, or you can have huge armies fighting against each other. What else are you going to need? You're going to need some dice. Not going to necessarily need this many dice, but you're going to need quite a few. Pick them up at your dollar store if you don't have any. What else are you going to need? You're going to need some weapons and shields for your Gundam action figures. Most action figure, well, pretty much all action figures come with weapons and accessories, but let's say yours don't have weapons and accessories. Well, make your own out of pieces of plastic or something of that nature. Doesn't really matter, as long as the weapons are represented in some way on the mobile suit. In fact, you don't even have to use Gundam MSIA. You can use Gundam models. You don't even have to use Gundams. You could use anything, as long as the limbs are detachable and you have plenty of them. What else are you going to need? You're going to need a playing surface. A nice, flat surface to play on. This will do. But perhaps you want a more realistic looking battlefield. Head on over to your hobby or fabric shop and pick up a nice piece of felt to cover your gaming surface with. Or perhaps maybe make a table using flock or simply painting it. So this will do. Nice piece of felt, looks pretty good. And that is basically everything you're going to need to play this game. Except for one more thing. One last little thing that none of you have. But now you can print it off. With this video will be a link to the Gundam Miniatures game 3.2 rulebook. It is the newest rulebook and contains so many new rules, so even if you've played this game before, I definitely recommend checking it out. This will most likely be one of the final versions of the rulebook as soon as I get it completely finished and exactly how I would like it to be. I will release a final version. Obviously it's on 3.2, so it's gone through quite a few changes since its date of creation. So, that's everything you need to play a Gundam game. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so, now that you have everything that you need in order to play, let's go ahead and take a look at how you actually play. So, things you're going to need in order to play. Obviously everything I've listed so far, minus the one very crucial element I forgot to mention, a friend. So, you and your friend are going to have your own set of mobile suits. This will be you, this will be your friend, or this will be you and this will be your friend, whatever your mobile suit preferences are. You can make up scenarios, like let's say Char is taking 2 Zakus and is attacking a Federation base protected by Amuro and 2 other ground-type Gundams with GM heads. And, he has to defend a base or something like that. You can basically make any type of scenario you want, but this is the basics. So, in order to play, let's go ahead and take a look at the rules. Basically, the rules will explain to you that this is a game of chance, which uses dice in order to represent that chance. Since war is so unpredictable in the first place, dice are a very good representation of bullets hitting and limbs being lost and so on and so forth. Now, the game uses a point system. Now, I don't mean points as in like you get this many points and you win, although there is a type of game like that, but I'll talk about that later. Basically, everything costs a certain number of points. And points are what you use to select your armies to play with. Both you and your opponent must have an equal number of points in order to play each other. So, let's go ahead and pop open the rules here. There is a 4-page section listing off everything you can purchase with your points. And you might be asking yourself, how do I know how many points I have? Well, that's up to you and your opponent to decide. After taking a look at the rule book, you'll decide, and once you get kind of familiar with the rules, you'll kind of know how points work and how to use them. If you aren't very familiar with the rules, I suggest both you and your opponent using the same number of mobile suits as well as the same weapons. So that way you automatically know you have the equal number of points. Although the point system isn't too complicated, I'll get into that later. Well, in a few minutes. So, basically, in the point section of the rulebook, you'll see that mobile suits cost 2 points. So, let's say that both teams have decided on 14 points to be spended on each side. So, we have Char's Zaku and 2 green Zakus. Each one costs 2 points apiece, according to the rulebook. All mobile suits cost 2 points, no matter what they are. So we got 2 points, 4 points, 6 points. So you had 14 points total that you could spend on all of your stuff, and you just spent 6 of them. That will give you 8 more points to spend on the rest of your army, which you will then spend on weapons. Your opponent did the same thing, picked the same number of mobile suits, so they also have 8 points. Now, you don't have to have the same number of mobile suits. I could choose to spend all 14 points on mobile suits and have 7 unarmed mobile suits if I wanted to. It's all up to you, whatever your strategy is. Alright, so now that we have our mobile suits selected, let's get into the actual weapons selection. So, move these out of the way. I've pre-prepared some weapons, and we'll take a look at the weapons that we're going to be using today. Okay, so first up, we'll take a look at some hand-to-hand combat weapons. Here we have a beam saber and a heat hawk right here. Go to the rule book, find those weapons. They're all organized by points. Lowest points first, going down to the higher points, all the way down to the sniper rifle, which costs the most. Here we go, beam saber. Beam saber costs 1 point. Heat hawk costs 1 point. They are distinguished. They're 2 different weapons, and each of them have their own chances to hit, as well as damage infliction, as well as range. So we're going to go ahead and equip both sides with the hand-to-hand combat weapon. Let's take a look at shields. Shields are very different from actual weapons. You see, mobile suits can only hold as many items as they have spaces available. So he has 2 hands, therefore he can hold a shield over here and a weapon over here. Or he can have 2 guns, or something of that nature. When you're holding more than one weapon, it gets a little bit complicated. You can't fire both weapons at the same time or attack with both weapons at the same time unless you're using a special ability, which I won't get into. Basically, check out the rules once you get a little bit more experience to learn more about that. But, like I was saying, mobile suits can only hold as many items as they have hands available. Or, as you can see later, sometimes you don't need hands. But for general purposes, you can hold as many things as you have hands available. So, if I gave him a shield, that means he can no longer hold anything else in his hands. His hands are full. Now you might know what I'm about to say about how a Zaku can have a shield on his shoulder. Well, that's not very fair if the Xeon player gets to have a shield and a weapon in the same arm. Well, if a player was to do that with a Zaku shield, in other words, have a shield and a weapon in the same arm, that's distinguishable from a regular shield. Zakus can in fact have a shield and a weapon in the same arm, but it costs more points. So, since the Zaku does not have any weapons in this hand, it just counts as a shield. Now, I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. It's really not a complicated game. But if you're confused at all, just go ahead and check out the rules, play a couple practice games. You don't have to use shields and swords and things right away. You can just use both sides having machine guns or something. Same weapons, just one mobile suit versus one other mobile suit. It's all up to you. You don't have to make it complicated to start. Also, personal message me if you have any questions. I would wait till you're done watching the entire video series on tutorials till you question anything. But basically, you get the gist of it. So, this costs 4 points for a shoulder-mounted weapon. So does a bazooka. So I'm going to give him a bazooka. So basically, I'm going to be referring to the points in the rulebook to pick all of the weapons for both sides. Now, before the game begins, check with your opponent to make sure that they are abiding by the rules and that they are spending the correct amount of points. Let's get into some other things you can spend your points on. Alright, so, as you can see, there's quite a big list of weapons. But there's also some other cool little things, such as special abilities, like double boosters, sharp shot, dual wield, new type. There's plenty of abilities to choose from, so you don't have to spend all of your points on weapons. You can do whatever you want. Check out the rules for more specifics on that. Like I said, link in the description of this video. There's also pilots to choose from, because it would not be very fair for a Zaku to blow up a Gundam. If you don't, if you know what I'm saying, like this Zaku in the typical TV show would not be able to destroy this Gundam alone by himself. So that's why there's pilots. You can have specific pilots for specific mobile suits. And once again, I'm not going to cover exactly how that goes in this video, but refer to the rules and try it out yourself if you'd like. So basically, now that we have all of our teams picked out and points are allocated and everything is good, we're going to go ahead and start playing the actual game. So in the next video, you'll get to see how movement and combat works. So see you there.